Don't disrespect me and say I do everything everybody else does, and I put up my own money.
Enough said. If you haven't already, download the American New Networks app on any place that you can download an app. So that's Roku, Samsung, LGT, I think the name of that is, your Apple phone, Galaxy, any one of those places. And also press the subscribe button on the YouTube channel if you haven't already. What's happening?
What's poppin', Dan? All right, Dan. How you feel about the Young Thug situation in the update?
I'm not so clear what's going on, but it sounds like he's coming home. Pause. And you know, it's always a great thing when, you know, someone from our culture or anyone culture, like you never want to see anybody, you know, have to sit in a jail and you don't really know the circumstance. It seemed like, you know, I could just say this, it looks like he has great legal representation. If they had a plan, it was executed to the letter with whatever they had amongst their crew. I mean, it just seems like, you know, I don't know, you know, if the feds or the state considers that a loss or a win, but it does seem like he did have to sit for a couple of years. But I think from my observation, you know, he did it the right way. And he's gonna, apparently it looks like he's coming home. And I'm curious to see the what's gonna happen when he come home, you know, with that celebration, what that's gonna do for music. It's like, you know, I'm hoping that everyone takes it as a W, because even though he pleaded guilty, from what I heard or what I read, because you never know, like it'd be a lot of stuff on the gram and people send you things, but it seems like, you know, he's coming home. And I was that like a waste of time? You know, what was the message? And will people learn from it? You know, what would have happened if he didn't have the ability to have that kind of legal representation? But also, again, whatever they had amongst each other, and if that was the plan, I don't know if it was a plan or not, but the way everything unraveled, it was definitely quite a spectacle. Everybody watched. And again, last week I was like, I wonder if they're putting these black DAs on there to set them up to fail. And now it's like, but when they fail, if they're at one of us, then one of us win, you know? So it's weird. It's like putting black on black. Either way, somebody black's winning. So I don't get the game, you know? But hopefully everything works out, you know, and whatever differences people have, generally, they could put to the side, get back to work. And I'm talking about in general. Like we as hip hop should learn from this situation and how things could be perceived or misperceived, and, you know, having accountability, because things could potentially be used against you in court. You might win, but you still might have to go through some things that you don't like. But at the end of the day, I'm sure it makes them appreciate life a lot more. You know, I would hope. And, you know, I hope people can just learn from whatever just happened. You know, you always have to look at the positive, not the negative. So just look at the positive in this, and I think we can celebrate. Let's isolate the negative and look at a beautiful future for hip hop. Maybe this is a sign that hip hop has a shot. You know.
So Paid in Full, the 22nd anniversary. What's your reflection on that accomplishment?
Well, yeah, it's 22 years later, and I think about how old I was when I made that movie as a producer. a lot of what I've been doing now is thinking when I reflect, because again, Clark did pass, so RIP to my brother Clark. He made that transition. It's like when you hear that, you talk to somebody in hospice and they're still cognizant and they're just like kind of waiting to transition, you kind of be like, I just need him to get out of pain as soon as possible. So it was like the week before he died, I cried that whole week. It was like he had already passed for me. And when he finally did transition, and when I heard, and it was like after I had done my interview, it was almost a relief because I knew he wasn't going through, that challenging situation anymore. And I know he's in a better situation. Also, I'm like, damn, he's like, I know he's going to be looking out for me because now he can. You know what I mean? Like, unfortunately, and fortunately for me, I can say what I want about an industry I was in because I'm not in the industry anymore. And I think to myself, what would it be like if I still had to work with all the people that I knew were doing bad things, and knowing that if I said something that no one would work with me in this industry again because certain people that are in so many different industries would make sure that no one works with you. You don't have a voice. So I'm like really feeling bad for people that are in the industry that really are too scared to speak because they really can't. What else do they have? So I remember Sherry, she coming to my house, and again, I paid for her college. Her mother used to babysit me, Sherry Bryant. And she'd come to the house and she just would be like, please, I can't take a picture with you. Or, it was really a big thing because she didn't want the recourse. And I didn't want her to have to feel the recourse. Like if you have to be in that industry and if you talk to Dame Dash or you say something against everyone or someone that's very powerful in that industry, you have to worry about everybody shutting the door in a very petty way. And you talk to certain people and they say things like, I've heard certain people say, yeah, they told me it's going to make it hard for my career. It's a business model to make it hard for someone in this industry if they don't do exactly what you say, if they don't accept exactly what you pay them. And if they rob you, they're going to say, you better not say nothing or else you're going to end up like Dame Dash. So I know it was always hard for Clark to be able to sit next to me in public and do certain things with me because then he has to go in a room of people that are probably not going to work with him. And the rest of the industry is under that kind of siege, and you wonder why nobody said nothing. No one's allowed to say anything. No one's allowed to say their opinion because they will get what you called, your business will be torturously interfered with. So, and I'm going to go back to the paid in full question, but it was like I was reflecting on, Clark and why he couldn't work with me, and then I was thinking about why I was reflecting, and it was because of Clark, really, not the paid in full. And really what I keep going back to is I was so young. I was a producer. When we made Paid in Full, I might have been like 29 years old, maybe 30, as a producer. When I'm looking at these pictures of me going to court with Beans, the interviews say I'm 33 years old. I had directed movies, first generation. I was really literally, because now I'm older, I was a child doing these things, and I must have been a sight to see. Because I haven't seen anyone that young as a business person without rapping, without acting, be in that position of power. Pause. To be a CEO of a $500 million company in your 30s. Now, for me, it was normal in the moment. But I also was looking at the statistics of, you make the average person that makes their first million, it doesn't happen until they're 51. The average billionaire doesn't happen until you're in your late 60s. I have to always remember that I'm so ahead of the game that I feel like I'm behind. And the reason why I was allowed to take a 20-year break was because I had done so much so young. And what happens is, I think about how frustrating it is when I'm working with an artist and they're late and they don't show up and they inconvenience me, and I'm spending time working on their career and not working with my family. And then after I do all the work, they usually don't give me the credit for it, don't think I deserve to get paid, and then have to make up some bullshit reason to take the shit I created. I had to make sure that my business was based on me. And then I look at who does that or who did that. Steve Jobs was the spokesperson for Apple. No one said he talked too much. No one said he was talking about other people's business when he's talking about his own. I look at Elon Musk. He is the spokesperson. He's on Twitter every day. He's on social media. He bought social media. That's how ill he is with it. He gives his opinions on everything because his products are his point of view. Every vertical pause, he promotes his robots, his Twitter, every business. He's on Joe Rogan, he's on podcasts, and this is my model that I've been doing. I had to make myself famous, or at least known, for the products that I'm going to make, so that the business is dictated on when I show up, when my family shows up, and that I'm spending my time trying to evolve someone that actually cares about me as much as I care about them. So I'm thinking about Paid in Full, and even the reasons why I haven't made it again, why I didn't do it. I had to do it with the Weinsteins. Was not easy, right? And, you know, I guess 50 brought it up. He had to get paid $17,000 an episode so that he could have creative control. He learned his lesson, but he used it as marketing. That's not my model, but I had to go through that, and that's where I learned on the set of Paid in Full that my story is not my story if I don't pay for it. That someone else is gonna write it, and if it's a street story, someone from another culture is gonna write it, cut the check, and everyone in the street is gonna blame me for every mistake they made. And as a result, we had problems in the street all the time since Paid in Full. And the next time I do anything with that subject matter, it will be with only the people I know personally that can tell their story as they want. And I'm not doing it for another culture. I'm not going to get paid a salary, not own it, not be able to do what I want, not be able to, and have to ask or take a pay cut of a salary for something that I care about. And, you know, I'm celebrating we're at like 92,000, and we're going up 400-500 a day. And I made and gave my word that I would start Paid in Full, the series, and whatever I decide to call it, but that could be the working title, so y'all don't try to whatever. But I said at 100 I would start. So when your business starts to grow faster than you anticipate, you have to make adjustments. I wasn't ready to hit 100,000 yet. But now I have to prepare for it because I said it publicly. I held myself to a certain standard. I have to be honest. I'm not going to lie to the people. And this is the reason why I think it's important to be transparent, because then you have to be held accountable. So I'm starting Paid in Full. I'm not going to say who. I'm not going to say the deals that were made, but there will be some announcements. But I am going to start Paid in Full. I'm preparing for that. And now I'm starting to figure out, like, I know the script and the stories, but it's going to be a different experience, you know, and it's going to be a TV show. And it might not be everything that everybody thinks, but it will be great. I put my word on that. Whatever I do as relates to that subject matter, it has to be an evolved version of what I already did, because I hold myself to a certain standard. And it also has to be done where everyone that has a part of it gets fairly paid in full. Because none of the artists, actors, or producers got paid in full from that movie. I didn't get paid in full. I ain't make a fucking dollar other than the fee. They still say that paid in full didn't recoup. It only cost $8 million to make it. And then I think about what I went through while I was making it. Like, Cam got shot. I had to fight, get sued, you know. I had to smack a nigga on the set. I had to, because he challenged me in front of the whole neighborhood. I felt threatened. And then I got sued for it. I think about that. And then, you know, I had to have a real fist fight, and, you know, I had to really fight. I really got those calls. That shit was real. It's traumatizing because it's a real story that affected real people, and it still affects them now. People that did the time now came home that were there. It's a completely different day. You know? So I'm working on that, and I'm being transparent. Y'all see, I said at 100, I'm telling y'all, every time I get 10,000, I let y'all know. But things are progressing. And what I want people to understand is, if people understand your dream, then your dream isn't big enough. Pause. You know, when I first started Rockefeller, the fact that I wanted to approach it as having a label as opposed to having a record deal was unheard of. And people thought I was crazy. And you think the internet is rough? It's not to me, because I have a crew, the best out, 20 dudes, pause, that used to snap every day, all day on you if you showed any weakness at all. And they looked at what I was doing as a weakness because they didn't understand it. They looked at Jay-Z as a weakness because he was from Brooklyn, and they felt he dressed funny and that he drive funny cars. He didn't have that Harlem swag when he first came around. No disrespect, not even a jab. Ask guys on the block. They teased me because of original flavor, future sound. They teased me, and again, I was thinking about, I used to bring Clark to Harlem. I remember my man Steve Mack, because you know, Steve Mack first came home, or he was on the run, whatever, and, you know, Clark used to floss. So we was out eating, and, you know, and that's the thing, Clark used to eat a lot of Wendy's, a lot of cheeseburgers, triple deckers, like 2 of them shits at a time. You know, I'm going into a Clark story, you know, I'm reminiscing and shit. But he said some slick shit to Steve about how he ain't had no money. Steve had a pause, and now he was going in, like we were at the table, and he was doing this. Bang, just smacked a whole bunch of money on the table, you know? And, you know, they would cut Clark up, and Clark would snap. We just snapped. So imagine, fuck the internet, 20 people laughing at you with funny jokes, 30, 40 at a time. That was my crew. That's why nothing bothers me, because of the Best Out. And I appreciate the Best Out for making me in a way where nothing bothers me, where, you know, being honest is the best way, because if you get caught fucking up, it's not gonna be good. But anyway, my point is, they teased me every day about Rockefeller, to the extent that I had to have a battle between DMX and Jay-Z in a barbershop. Everything I did back then was I had to convince people that the people that I believed in were really great. And then no one believed it, so I had to do it myself, and no one understood that. And that's what's going on with this television network to me. I'm like, yo, people really don't understand this shit. They don't understand where the money's at. They don't understand that, yo, I just gotta re-up. I got work. You know? They don't even understand what the work is. Like, they don't know what a fast channel is. They don't know what a CPM is. Like, they're really about 10 years behind me right now. Same thing like Rockefeller. So again, knowing that I did something so many years ago, and it means so much now to where, you know, it could be something that can do something in an evolved way. It's a brand. It made me a brand. So I'm thankful for it, you know? And the Reasonable Doubt, I'll give you a quick update. The judge said that the auction is September, I think, 14th. And they, you know, again, they were just sorting out, you know, how much future child and all this other stuff would be, you know. Because what happens is the person, the people that have this judgment, and again, the majority of it is for defamation, and a lot of it to me, I say like allegedly so I don't get sued, is because someone, Josh Weber, pretended he directed a movie I directed, and because I was going to get at him, they just conspired allegedly, and they all, made a court case in New York, even though it happened in LA, and they just lied. Period. Just lied. But they're the ones that brought the judgment. But because of the child support, and the back child support wasn't a lot. It was a couple of months worth. It's the future child support. So I can stop acting like I'm a deadbeat. If I was a deadbeat, then it literally cost, for me, $1 million a child. And I had 4 at the same time. Not a year, collectively. So that's why I said over the last, these 2007, it's been about $4 million of child support. And, I've never not paid it. I just pay it late because my money's funny. I'm investing. And I have, baby mothers that are very not understanding of that. And then also there's some tricky shit that's happened, but I'll explain that more detail when I get into the real bosses take losses, but I don't really want to go into it now. So child support will get paid first, then this tax will get paid, then the person that brought the judgment are these people that I don't respect, allegedly. So now, initially, Jay offered me 1.5, and I didn't like that. I thought it was not fair because I couldn't get a proper accounting. I couldn't get a proper accounting of what it was making. And I wasn't receiving any royalties. I hadn't received royalties for like 10 years. So I wasn't making no money with it anyway. And, there was no intention of anyone paying me. That's how it goes. And, now, I said, I don't want that 1.5, get out of here. I tried to do the NFT. They gave me that false lawsuit that no one talks about. But now you have to give at least $3 million. Now, if homie would have gave me $3 million back then, I'd have been straight with it years ago. We could have been cool. Either way, it's going to be more than 1.5. And my kids will get what they got to get. It's still my money. They get it. And that's where it was going anyway. All my money or all the money I make goes to my children, it goes to my family. I don't want no money. I'd rather my family have it than me, or y'all be able to take it from me any day. So whatever happens, as long as my kids get their bread, because you gotta remember something. If I wouldn't have had this happen, I wouldn't have received $1. I wouldn't have got $1. I had nothing to lose. Those people over there don't play fair. And ask the other producers that are on reasonable doubt if they've received the royalty, allegedly or whatever. I bet shit gets cleaned up now. But ask the other producers, are they getting their royalties and when the last time they got paid? So I honestly, I don't want to have a reason to talk about them anymore. I don't want any connections. I want to be able to move forward. I want everything new. So if 1/3 of reasonable doubt 30 years later is going to pay for 2 of my kids' college education, I ain't mad at that. Not that, you can say what you want. And I have other things that are happening that are my future, that are just about me, not 1/3 of someone else's story, 100% of my family's. I don't know. You don't want to end up like me. But, I don't think that's something people should think is such a bad thing, but I'm sure narrative, that's what y'all want. I'll be that character. But either way, I'm Batman, the superhero that fights for us. So yeah, the update is the new date is now the 14th of November. The minimum bid is $3 million or 3 point something. And, we'll see how it goes. So you can still buy it. I really was curious. Like Drake did send an offer, but he just disappeared. I'm just curious to know what happened. It's like a lot of people sent offers and then they just disappeared. I don't know why. Of course, I'm gonna think some funny business is happening. Just like when I was trying to do the NFT, and all of a sudden, a personal email went directly to them from the public. The public. I mean, it's crazy. They serious though. They get real petty with it. But again, so you want to show up to the auction, you want 10 million, you can get the chains. Still same thing. And I guess the next 2 weeks I'll be promoting that as well. Because it seems like everyone forgot about it because of all the nasty shit that's attached with these things now. I just don't want no parts of it. I will be celebrating, trust me, when I don't have to deal with them about nothing ever again. Because obviously we just don't do things the same, and it just involves a messy fight. And then I don't have no reason to talk unless somebody's talking about me. But after this is done, we can move on. So, I was telling everybody last week that I started, doing this Q&A. So whoever has questions about the interview can check me, pause, on Tuesday and ask me any questions you want about the interview, sort of an interactive sort of a thing. And Big Face Gary, who was the original member of the Best Out, like kind of, definitely A&R at Rockefeller when he came home. And that was my thing with my crew, was when they came home, I wanted to put them on paper, so I had to give them a real job, make sure they had, a nice Jacob watch, a little Rockefeller chain. Some got apartments, some got cars. But, I would give them, the Best Out pack, because I would hope that that's what they would do or would have done for me had I been in their situation and I was in mine, So I always tried to make sure when I had it. And it was like the reason why I was in a certain position, pause at a certain time, was so that I could help my crew, help make them better. Not help them hustle, help them not hustle. You know what I mean? And, so I've seen Big Face Gary trying. Got his Big Face Gary show, whatever. So if you're trying and you're from I consider you one of my brothers, if my block is clicking, then you could put your work on my block, So I was like, all right, let's try this Q&A thing and see if people like it. And we've been doing it. People like it. It's cool. He said some shit that was suspect. I don't know why. Like, he said some real, I don't know. I think maybe you get in front of the camera, you say some dumb shit or something, but it was like some real Ayo pause. Which one? Why did you drag Big Face out of bed in the middle of the night to fake meetings? Pause. What's he talking about?
I remember, I don't know who that is, but I remember Dame, me and you used to live in the Black Door, and you just be chilling and you just call me and say, yo, G, I got to talk about something. And I get there, Rocky. It'll be nobody there but me, Dave. We just talk. Dave, you remember that?
No, that never happened. What the fuck are you talking about? That never happened, Gary.
Yeah,
I never called you to come talk to me at the Black Door with nobody. What the fuck are you talking about?
I'm on the live.
What are you talking about, Gary? What are you talking about?
I don't lie.
You're telling me I called you to come to the. First of all, you was at the Black Door.
You gonna go to the
extreme. I was never alone at night ever in life.
You gonna go
at the Black Door.
All right. Whatever was bothering.
But what are you saying? No, what are you talking?
Bottom line is,
making up shit again, Gary.
I don't make shit up. You know, I ain't never been a liar, brother. We don't lie.
You definitely fog. So you just.
You was mad about something.
You said that I called you at night to come to the house and nobody was there.
Calling me like
you at the wrong party, my nigga.
Oh boy. Yo, you know what? I know how Dame is. I'm not gonna do that.
I never ever called you just to talk to
not
you.
Just
come
Dame.
over to the Black Door. Like, what the fuck are you talking about?
Oh God. Let me get my wine, man. I have to get a little tipsy.
Yeah, go get your wine and go look at your Lifetime because you bugging right now.
Okay.
And I had to check him immediately. You know what I'm saying? Like, yo, that didn't happen. Like, why are you saying that? And then the next day, I was like, my girl was like, why would Gary say that? And I got mad again. Like, I had to call him. Like, Gary, why did you say that? You know what I mean? But he told me he just made a mistake and I cut him off. Like, but what kind of mistake is that? But we were able to have that conversation because I'm like, yo, these mistakes you make in the.
Nothing but a supervisor.
No, not those. Wrong button. Crazy. So I had to ask him, like, yo, why you keep making mistakes and saying this crazy shit? You looking at Lifetime and drinking red wine by yourself? Like, what's going on?
What the fuck was you talking about? I used to call you from the black door and used to come over alone. All of that is bullshit. That never happened one time in your whole life. Why would you say that?
You took it the wrong first one. You listen to me?
You said that.
But I know what I said, but you took it the wrong. You gonna listen to me?
You better say something that makes sense.
Yo, Dave, first I didn't say me. What I meant to say, it came
All right, but that's not what you said, nigga.
When we talk, you started snapping.
Cause you was bugging. You like, yo, you used to call me at the black door. I come, you be in the bed. I'm like, what the fuck is you talking about? Of course I'm not gonna. Okay, go ahead. Let me listen. But either way, it's cringe, nigga. Pause.
You're already happy of you. And I said, okay, Dave, my fault. I left it alone. You didn't even let me finish.
I'm asking you why you said that.
Dave, first of all, now I'm gonna go back. You remember Dave used to call late night everybody, it wasn't only me. I said it wrong. Shaq, you be mad about something, you will call the meeting. Everybody.
Oh, a meeting. That's not what you said. You
I
said.
said it wrong.
I know, but it was so wrong that it was crazy. Like you went like.
All right. I'll fix it.
I used to call and you'd be like, and nobody was there. It'd just be me and you. Like I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about?
You ain't let me fuck. All right. I'll fix it next Tuesday, Dave. I'll fix it. You took it the wrong way.
Yes, I did take that the wrong way. Yes, absolutely. I'm taking that the wrong way. Stop looking at Lifetime by yourself, drinking red wine, my nigga.
My point is, we were able to have the conversation. Like when you got friends and they do some shit to suspect, I'm like, yo, I'm calling you. Like we can't be in front of camera saying some crazy shit like that. So the conversation was had. But one of the questions he asked me was, and the Q&A was like, yo, you see Cam was on the thing with Steve Stout, how I felt about that. And I hadn't really paid it so much attention, but you know, in the moment I was like, I just wondered if he asked him about that shit that he was saying. But I know Cam, I'm like, you know, he ain't gonna get to those politics. He's gonna get his money and be out. And I said it, I know that Steve Stout's the type of person, from what I understand, I've never seen him discover any talent. I just see him exploit talent. And the only way people hang out with him is if he says, yo, I could get you some money. And he's the type of person that I look at, pause, or allegedly, like, you know, he's a test. Like, if someone could get me, if I'm trying to get $2 million and they say they could get me 6, or a person like him, knowing that it might come with some bullshit, some sellout shit, and he might be like an evil person, I think most people would be like, yo, fuck it, I'm gonna take the check. And I understand how a guy like that can survive because he buys people. Once they get famous, he says, I could get you some more money, period. And of course they're gonna show up when he pays. And, you know, so someone else sent me a clip of the same place and of the same, I guess, wherever he was doing his talk, and 50 Cent, you know, 50 Cent gave him £1. And I got mad a little bit about that because, you know, 50 patted him on his hips twice. He gave him a pat. So I'm like, yo, why are you smacking Cam on his ass like that? Pause, like, what, in this environment, in that tight ass suit? And I was like, damn, is it, because I started to think, because I went down like a rabbit hole. I got mad, literally, paused for a second, like, damn, is he over there because he got to a certain place and they think they could be smacking him on his ass now and all that? I got so upset that I called British. And I'm like, British, you know, what's going on over there? You know, why is niggas? I got to call Cam, you know, and you know, it turned out being really funny to me. You know what I'm saying? So I called Cam. I'm like, yo, with the serious face, like, yo, you know, I saw that shit with 50 Cent. Yo, why he giving you the pat? Like, you know, since when there's a pound, when niggas see each other, they smacking each other on the hips. What's that all about? Like, what was your reaction? Like, did you say stop, or, you know, like, what do you do when a strong ass nigga with a tight suit smacks you on the ass when you gotta say stop, no pat? We not in the pat club. You know what I mean? So, it turned into like, well, you know, I was joking and shit. You know, it was like, but it was just funny because when I thought about one side of it, I was like, what if da-da-da-da? But then I was like, nah, I can't, you know, I could call him. I'm gonna go ask him about that. And it was just so funny to me. And I told him, he was just like, man, you could go ahead. I said, I'm gonna bring it up. And he doesn't give a fuck. So that's why I fuck with Cam, because he knows that shit was funny. A super pause moment. And 50, stay out. Harlem niggas don't do the pat club. When you see niggas from Harlem, just give them £1. You know what I'm saying? Like, once you get to a certain level, it don't mean you can start patting niggas on their hips. Especially not Camron. No pat club, all right? Next question. So what I want to say is, in this part of this interview, I want to talk about, 'cause I feel like I talked about the things that, people want to hear me talk about that are related to me. The Rockefeller shit, Paul's, a little 50 Cent shit, Camron, all of that. But what's really more important to me is that I showcase the things that really make me happy and what I've been fighting for. And that's to spend this kind of time with my family. So this week was a great week for me because it was Halloween. And, Rocky really gets into the Halloween spirit. This is the reason why we decided to move in an environment where everyone has children and everyone likes to celebrate those kind of victories. Because being able to spend a holiday with your child is a victory. And you got to celebrate that. And I do, because I wasn't able to spend the majority of the Halloweens with my family. And when I was able to, I always had fun doing it. And preparing for it was fun. Like, I went to the dollar store to get whatever they had to get. But I was like, the dollar store? Like, it's $1? I know about it, but I went in there, I'm like, wow. It was popping in there, too. And they had great they had great Mike and Ike's. They had the Jolly Joes, the grape ones. That was a big deal for me. I found that. And then I was able to pack trick-or-treat bags so that my son could take them to school, And I'm telling you, if you don't know and you've never done it, it's way better than any party, being around a bunch of famous people, just being with your child and the fun that they have preparing for something that they look forward to is the most, and just being able to do it without arguing, it's just the best thing in the world. And this is the reason why I've architected my life this way. And then, taking them to school, then Halloween happens. We went on a hayride in the neighborhood. We went to some friends that also did a Halloween party in the next community. And we went trick-or-treating. Real family shit. And I'm comparing the Halloween I had yesterday to the last, 30 years of Halloweens. And I just, it would be like going to parties at night and hanging, and nothing was better than this. Trust me on that. If you haven't tried it, try to spend Halloween with, someone that you care about that really enjoys it. Like listening to like Rocky does the whole thing. Like, we got to listen to Halloween music all day, even when Baby Dusko's not in the car. And because he loves golf, we all dressed up like Caddyshack. His favorite movie right now, because a 3-year-old loves golf, is Caddyshack. I was dressed up like Bill Murray. Raquel was dressed up like a gopher. Baby Dusko was dressed up like the young star of the movie. And Nicolette was dressed up like a kitty cat. I don't know, what was you? Playboy bunny cat? Like, what was you? What was that? A bunny cat?
It was, I don't know.
And, I had a ball. I really marinated. Like, for me, going to the dollar store is like going to a party. It's a new experience. What I like in life is new experiences. And if you prepare, if you architect, it doesn't happen overnight, but it does happen if you know what you want your life to look like. And you have to prepare your life like it's a movie. The more you prepare, the more you care. Anxiety and feeling crazy, fear, it's all from lack of preparing. You're scared of the next moment because you didn't prepare for it. You have anxiety for the next moment because you didn't take time to prepare. If you go on a movie set, you don't block, you don't have a shot list, you didn't rehearse, the crew didn't have a meeting before and talk, it's pandemonium. There's a lot of anxiety. People are fighting. Wasted time. Nothing's getting done. You can't enjoy it. If you walk in an environment that's chaotic, especially a business environment, it just means they didn't prepare. If you walk into a life that's chaotic, it's your responsibility to prepare enough for your future that when it becomes your present, you can be calm. And you have to have the accountability for not preparing. Another lesson of the day, or the other lesson of the day. If you want to be a boss, it's not the easiest thing, but people think it is, to tell people what to do. You can't ask people, like, can you do this when you get a chance? When you feel like it? Can you? Those are unclear orders. And you have to be dependent on how somebody perceives those orders. But if you've never told someone how to do something, you can't expect them to know. A lot of people I know, especially a lot of the females around me, not one, but the ones one of the things is they don't like to talk about the things they think you should be doing. They think you should figure it out. And they get mad at you if you don't figure it out. And it's like, you know, it'd be a lot easier if you told that person what you want them to do and not be mad if they can't read your mind. A boss has to be able to clearly tell somebody what to do, and you can't assume that because you know what to do, that they know what you are doing. The things that people don't see you do, they don't think it even happens. They think it's easy. There's people I work with sometimes that I may partner up with, and they might not see all the work it is to like set something up and book flights. A flight's just booked. A record's just made. A video's just done. To book a show, it takes so many people to do so many things, but because it's not done in front of them, they just think it's something that just happens and may not think it's a lot of work that comes with it. Sometimes you have to show people the work for them to appreciate the work. Rocky feeds the dogs every day. Each dog gets a different plate of food. And each day it takes a good half hour for her to do this, and she does it on her own. And, you know, sometimes people around, like a Nicolette or somebody, will help. But I'd be like, yo, what does it look like when you go in that room and start making, I don't know how hard or laborious that is. I don't see it. But if you tell me, I could probably help. I don't mind. I just got to know what to do. So the lesson of the day is you have to be clear. The directions have to be direct. It's never a question. And you can't assume someone knows what you want them to do. And what you have to know is unless you tell them what to do a day before, how to do it, that it won't get done right, and you have to have accountability for not giving clear order. That's a boss's job. This is a boss lesson. So that's the reason why, like, because when I work with people, I get close with them. We get cool. And when I get into that, like, boss tone, where there's, like, it doesn't matter how I feel, if I'm inspired or not, when I have an obligation to do something, I have to show up and do it to the fullest. My emotion cannot ever, ever dictate my action as it relates to business. When you're in the middle of business, you have to deal with emotion later. Your emotion does not come before your business. A real boss can put emotion someplace else or know how to use emotion to make certain things get done. But if you shut down in the middle of a war while people are shooting at you because you don't feel inspired, you will get hit. And the people that depend on you will get hit. If you're in the Super Bowl and you're supposed to be blocking for your quarterback and you just don't feel inspired, you're going to let your quarterback get tackled? You get paid for that? In the middle of business, no matter what's going on in your life, if you show up that day for work, Your emotion that's going on in your personal life cannot affect your business. And if you are sick, don't come to work. It's not fair to get everyone else around you sick. If you're so depressed that you can't work, then don't come. Just pause. Tell the people that are going to be working with you that you can't do the things that you usually do, and tell them what you need them to do. So if you are in a situation where you are too sick, where you don't want to be contagious, then you have to make plans not to go. You have to prepare the people to be able to do the things that you were doing without panic. That's a boss. And someone that can't put business before emotion cannot be the boss. If you're flying a airline plane, you have 100 passengers, and you don't feel like flying that day because somebody bothered you at home, that means everyone shouldn't get where they got to go and they paid their ticket. When you're a boss, your personal emotion has to get out the way when other people depend on you. And a lot of times, people don't see that. They put their emotion and they let that guide their actions. They'll actually let it hurt them and the people they love based on the fact that they are uncomfortable to prove a point. It's not productive. Get past that. You know, Rocky was telling me the other day that one of her friends' kids was going to Dwight, and Dwight was showing me as an alumni. And I got kicked out of Dwight in the 7th grade. And but I came back and put my son in Dwight. And, you know, the thing was I went on scholarship, but it was like a thing for me to come back and have my son go there and pay full price and even pay for extra stuff. And also at some point I was able to sell them books, Dusko Goes to Space. So the best to me, revenge in that way, and not in a bad way, just gratification that I was right about who I was the same school I got kicked out of showcases me as a student. They're proud to say I went to their school. They're proud to say they kicked me out. You know? And I was also able to come back and sell them education when they were saying that, you know, I wasn't able to deal with their education based on my behavior. That's the best revenge. When people tell you you're not great and you come back and do something great in a field that they understand. And just because you're great in another field that someone doesn't understand, that person doesn't have the right to tell you you're not great because they don't understand that field. But, you know, I took a lot of time. It wasn't a fluke. I spent years with the OSG, a bunch of principals. So did Raquel. And the work we do reflects that, and our circle of people that we're around reflects that. Our support system are people that care about people for a living. And their profit is the graduation, how many people can read, which is the most important thing for our future. And this week, you know, we launched Applefish a couple weeks ago, the Fast Channel, 24 hours of children's programming with original programming made by us. But now we've been able to have other synergies, and we have more content. We have new Applefish content, children's programming, cartoons, and made by really, really good filmmakers. You know, PBS quality stuff. And I'm really proud of that, because that's me worrying about our future, not mine, ours. The same education I use for my child is the same education I'm trying to give to everyone else because I know it works. And also Rocky has shows on there that teach parents, mothers and fathers, how to interact with their children. Because a child wants to talk to Blimpie for some reason, because that's the level that they're at. That's the language they want to speak. And as a parent, you have to know how to communicate with your child and teach them things in a way they like. And you don't want Blimpie being the person to teach your child or some purple animal. You want to be the parent to teach your child and let them see someone else or see some play character so that they could, you know, have someone to relate to. But at the end of the day, they got to respect you for the information. You know, your child is almost like your business. You have to prepare for your business. The profit of your child is how happy your child is and how much that child has the ability to be an adult. Our job, to me, as a parent, is to prepare our children to be adults. Children aren't children very long. You're an adult way longer than you're a child. And when you're a child quick. And what's crazy is through all of this Halloween and all this stuff I do with baby Dusko, he's 3 years old. He probably won't completely remember it, but he will see it because I document it. But I know with all my other kids, I'm like, they don't really start remembering all these great things we did until they're like 14. Everything else is like for me, and so he has that feeling. Because I know when he's older, he's not going to remember Halloween at 3 years old. Do you remember what you were doing at 3 years old? Or 4 years old? Or 5 years old? Do you remember your birthday parties? Think about what your first real memory was. How much shit you don't remember, things that you don't register as a core memory. So it's important for them to have that feeling and make it so consistent that it becomes a core memory. And if you're not going to remember it, I'm going to tape it. The whole network that baby Dusko is going to see of him growing up and the time we spent educating him. And he can now use that content to educate his children, my grandchildren. And I'm going to be there for it. So this is the segment where I call it the fast track segment. And this is where I answer questions from people that have asked questions during the week through polls and DM.
So we'll pull up the name because I don't want to badger anybody either, but Wayne Cashes asks you, are Diddy bucket hats and socks for sale?
What's the question, or what?
Are Diddy?
Oh, Diddy, you said Diddy.
No.
Yeah, the question, yes, the Diddy bucket hats will be for sale, and so will a lot of other things. So the things that I'm wearing right now, the next phase of our business model is now that we have the media set up, America New, YouTube, America New Networks, the television network. Now the vertical we're focusing on is the fashion. So we've been making samples of everything we're about to sell and wearing them. And we've had, we make them in quantities of 100 to give away and stuff. But now it's time to get to work. Again, I'm not, my main business isn't the media business of America New. It's a vertical. Next is the fashion. And then there's the music. And then there's the education. And then there's the real estate part. It's like 8 legs to this. There's the art. There's the touring. You know what I mean? So, yes, the short answer is yes. The glasses are for sale. The socks are for sale. The question is where? Tune in.
Champagne 410 asks, what are 3 steps a new artist should take to create exposure?
I mean, for me, the first and foremost is the show. The good old-fashioned way. And when you can get 100 people to come to see you perform without a promoter, then you could get 1,000. And when you're doing these activations, you'll be getting content that you could put on social media. And I think you have to be consistent, because right now, everyone that's doing anything is consistently in the public eye every day, all day. So also look at the people that your competition is and look how hard they're working. And know to be seen, you have to work double hard because you don't have the money they have right now to pay for the things they're doing. So you have to generate things. You have to pause. You have to always have motion. Always pause, tape your motion. And if you're starting from scratch, when you're doing social media, you gotta be friends with damn near your first 5,000 fans, no matter what, maybe 10. You gotta talk to them. They gotta really know you. They gotta really wanna come, pause, to your show, buy your merch, and then also you have to make merch. So your show, capturing your show and putting it and servicing it on social media, having your merch, and being consistent daily. If you're not 8 hours a day, because once you get famous, it's 25 hours a day. It's an all-day thing when you crack. People don't understand that. Your life is gone. This relaxed thing, it doesn't happen no more. What happens is you buy a big-ass house and you never get to hang out in it because you're on the road 300, you know what I mean? And you miss a lot of shit, but it's part of your dream. But you have to know that once you become successful, you work harder. But to get successful, that first couple of years, you can't do nothing but that. It's like training camp. And people take that for granted, that how quick time goes. And also you have to have, like, if this doesn't work out by a certain amount of time, when you're a certain age, then you have to know when to pivot and maybe do something that's more administrative to help other people. And then through the other people, you can still get your dream to come true.
We know Miles asked, did Clark Kent introduce you to Original Flavor?
Yes. Clark Kent 100% introduced me to Ski, Original Flavor. He introduced me to Clark Kent. He introduced me to Akinelli. He introduced me to everybody I knew that wasn't from Harlem. Everybody. I didn't know anybody that wasn't from Harlem. I didn't know anybody in the music business other than Darian's stepfather, Cecil Holmes, and I barely knew him, you know? And, you know, people in my family were in the music business as well, and they were, you know, from the Bronx. But I didn't know anybody in Brooklyn, anybody in Atlanta. I didn't know anybody. Clark introduced me to everybody. Everybody. Like, Clark was DJing, and again, not to bring it up, but, you know, it is, I guess I am bringing it up. But that basketball game where Puff threw and those people got smothered, I was there. And the only reason I was there was because Clark Kent was DJing. Only reason why I got in through that line and didn't get caught up in that, I wouldn't have been there if it wasn't for Clark, but Clark made it where it was like, go right in, and we were sitting in there like, damn. Like, literally, I was there. Like, I was there when that happened because Clark was DJing. You know, I was like, damn, why was I there? I was thinking about, why? It's crazy that I was actually there. And it was like, you know, you've never been in a scenario where people can die from being smothered, or what that could even look like. I know what that looks like. I was there. I lost a friend named Dawn. She went to school with me. She was from Brooklyn. She went to Manhattan Center. I was there. But I was there because of Clark. I've been, you know, positive things and negative things, but, like, you know, I remember when Clark was DJing the Uptown party, they were doing Unplugged, and he was, the DJ was in LA. And that's where I first met, like, Patti LaBelle, and that's where I met everybody at Uptown. I got to see everybody that was on television because of him, you know? Like, he literally, like, I really don't know what my life would have looked like without him. I really don't. And I remember in that moment when I met him and he was doing all these things for me that I appreciated, like, damn, I'd be fucked up if it wasn't for Clark. If he didn't sign this deal, what would I have done? You know? And I went to so many pancake houses, or rather waffle houses, because of Clark, because that's where you would go, you know, after you DJ in the market. That, you know, I remember, you know, he introduced me to Kenny Burns, who I ended up hiring to be the president of rock music. And then, you know, he went over and was running Revolt. Yeah, I wonder what Kenny's take is on all this, you know? Word.
Volution Suzuki's says, how did you go on dates being type 1? I'm type 1. It's awkward trying to bring insulin on dates.
Wasn't awkward for me. I never cared. And I was a diabetic when, I don't know, I just don't care. I don't look at those things as weaknesses. Like, I'll take out a dope-free needle back in the day as a teenager and take a shot in front of everybody. But I do remember, like, when girls used, because I had my own crib. That's another thing. When I was like 19, 18, I had my own crib in 1199 and I renovated it. Like I was renovating cribs as a teenager, bro. In $11.99, like putting the tile. I had I had the dash in my toilet, like in the bathroom, in the tiles. I had dash in the tiles at 19. I had like made. I don't know. I just was always on some shit like that. And what made me think about that was girls used to be over, and they would sometimes find my stash of needles, and they would tell their friends, like, I don't know, is he a dope fiend, or is he taking steroids? And I'm like, she could have just asked me, But I just never found anything that I have to be awkward. To hide something is awkward to me. To feel embarrassed is awkward. Like, why you want to feel embarrassed? I don't want to feel embarrassed. So why feel it? Pause. Like whatever I do, I do. You're only embarrassed about shit you're ashamed of. I can't be ashamed of, being diabetic. That's not, I wasn't nothing I could do. There's no shame with something not working. There's pride with taking care of it. I always thought it was gangster to be able to be that guy that got all the girls and stick a needle in my fucking leg and do all the things that I've done as a diabetic. And there's no excuse for people to do things that aren't diabetic or you can't use diabetes as an excuse not to do things, because I've done everything great diabetic. And the reason why is I follow the innovations. So if you're diabetic, pause. I got a good innovation, right? So this tells me my blood sugar on my phone, pause. See the octopus? This gives me the insulin. It's a Dexcom. I used to have to carry 2 phones. One is, my regular phone, and that's where I can see my blood sugar, and another phone to give myself the insulin. There's a new app now where the Dexcom talks to the what's this called again? The Omnipod. When my blood sugar is too high, it'll give me the insulin. But when I need to give it to my insulin myself, now I could do it from an app. There's a new app. And I could just press a button, it all from my phone. Now, to someone that's not diabetic or hasn't been diabetic, it's not a big deal. But to someone that's been diabetic since the dope fiend needle, and I used to have to always test my blood to know what my blood was, to be able to have this kind of technology, it's like not even really being diabetic anymore to me, And, I know other diabetics, and they're doing, like I ran into my friend Halloween, and she's type 1, and she's the one that actually put me on to the Omnipod. It like saved my life. And every time I talk to her, she always has a different innovation about how to, make sure your future is better with diabetes, like certain different treatments and shit. And when I learn those things, I'm able to teach those things. So as a diabetic, I feel like my responsibility is, as I learn things, especially people that have the wherewithal to get the best, teach it to the people that don't have the wherewithal to get the best. So we could all have, equal care, or at least knowledge of what you could do. And you'll find that things aren't as expensive as you think. You just have to know what to do. And you never know what insurance will cover. Another thing I wanted to say is, if you are going to be independent and be a boss, it is important to have a person with you that really embraces that wants you to be the boss. So like I look at my life in the last 15 years with Raquel, and every second she's been like, fight. She's never told me to fold. She always embraces me standing up for the truth, because she's with me every day, so she knows the truth. She knows when people are treating me unfairly. It affects all of us. But she's never told me to fold. She never said, yo, just go get a job. Stop fighting. Why don't you just do what these people say? I'm the dude, pause. I'm the man that my woman wants me to be. So if you're a woman and you have to be, you tell your man what you want. Push your man to be a man. Don't settle for anything less than some man shit. You know, if you advise your man to fold, he gonna question himself. So you have to be around people that are on the same type of time. But at the end of the day, I'm only the man that my woman wants me to be. That's who I'm showing off for every single day. That's like why when Steve Stout said that stupid shit, and again, you know he never ever fixed his mouth and will never fix his mouth to say that shit again, because he lied on TV and said I ran. Which is the most cowardly punk ass. I would never trust a nigga that would ever do that again, and that showcased what kind of coward he is right there. But at the end of the day, he said I ran in front of my girl. You think my girl, because she wasn't even my girl at the time, but do you think she would be like, I'm going to get with a man that's going to run from a fat-faced dude like that, from a meat patty face like that, from an English muffin face with uncooked butter on it face? Do you think she would ever be with a man that's the man that she would want me to be? I've seen women leave men because they punked out. Girls, like I said, pillow talk is a motherfucker when you didn't do the right thing. Like, a girl will tell you everything fucked up about their prior cat because she's telling you why you're so much different than that person. So definitely for all a lot of famous dudes, I heard too much. And I don't even want to hear it. I'd be like, I don't want to hear this shit. But it'd be like, that's crazy. But girls talk. So you should be on your best behavior when you're messing with a girl that, you know, you don't mind messing with other people in your industry. Your business is going to be out there if the dude does the right thing. You know? And that's why a lot of guys are poor as butthurt now, because they know I know too much. But that's another thing, and I'm not even getting into that. But anyway, you know, I appreciate everybody. Stay tuned. Again, if you watch this on Monday, on Tuesday, you'll be able to ask me any question about anything I said with the Big Face Gary show. And, you know, I'm really happy about the trajectory of our business. And I'm very confident that doing this independently without any favors, making sure everything was mostly transactional, and being able to work with my peer circle sucker-free and just staying out the way, I think that was the right way to do things. And I think I'm celebrating that more than ever right now. And you're celebrating it with me. And if you could learn from what I'm doing, if anything I'm doing, not what you hear about, but what you see. If you like how I'm living or doing anything the way I'm doing it, that's what America New is. It's showing you how to keep your life new and crispy. No old shit. Like, we could talk about the old shit, but look, this is all new. America New. New glasses, new television network, new programs, new sneakers, new clothes, new books, new music, new everything. Everything new. You know, you learn from the old, you celebrate the things that you love and that you respect, but you always got to be dreaming. Just keep dreaming. Holla. I'm out.